Hello and good morning. Today is Thursday, May the 9th, 2024. We have the 24th day at our shipyard. Whereby, what does we mean? Brixy? Yellowstone? Where are you? Brixy? Yellowstone? Hello? There we go. Well, I can already guess where the two are. Yesterday was the laying of the foundation stone for Brixy's house, and there was a small celebration. Unfortunately, I didn't have time for that. And I guess it was a little later. Let's get started. Let's see then or if the two show up at all. Today we are going to the rear with the bags 45 and 46. And the last lighting elements are also being installed in the rear, and these are also the last overall. In addition, the main wiring at the bottom of the keel and the installation of the remote control unit are carried out today. Let's start with the bags 45 and since the two are not there yet, I need... there it is. Again, like before. Let's go. Well, who do we have there? Well rested?
Not so That was a night. Oh dear.
Was it a great celebration with Joe and his men?
And Melissa.
Melissa was there too.
Yes, everyone was there, except you.
Yes, I'm sorry, Brixy. I wanted to, but unfortunately the preparations for the last videos didn't leave me any time. But I will definitely be there for the housewarming ceremony. Okay. You can tell about it later. We have a lot of plans today. Are you fit for the work?
Yes, it's okay.
Yellowstone? Okay. I had to count again as before, since you were not there. I had 70 stones so far, so we are at 8,421. Can we? So that I don't have to say every time that the stones I use in this video come from, I have marked them in color. Old stones with a red frame are stones from my own stash. Those with a black frame are stones from the Titanic, which are replaced with others in an earlier video. And finally, those with a green frame are stones from the Titanic that were too much in the bags. I am making various changes to this construction phase. On the one hand, because I won't use the lighting for the windows provided by Brixy. On the other hand, because I want to illuminate the two small windows here from this structure, which is not planned at all. And other changes that will come into effect when I install this section later. First, I remove some stones again. This white blade belongs to my second Titanic. I used the original white blade in the previous video as a platform for the control unit of the steam module in the rear. I now remove these and replace them with these three blades. As you can see, the whole thing is then one shorter, which has to do with the later installation of this section, which I will show later. At this point I removed these two round 1 blades, the two white 4 blades, the blue 4 blade and the red 8 stone. Most of the stones are later reinserted elsewhere. Among other things, these two white 4 blades are used down here to give the whole thing a little more stability. I replaced these two red 8 stones with two black 8 stones. This has purely aesthetic reasons because I don't want to see a red background when the windows are illuminated later. I don't need this red 8 stone anymore. In its place comes this black 4 whole brick. In these two black stones, the lower stone is moved forward by 1 to create a gap at the back. According to the instructions from Brixy, a BitLight would now be used to illuminate the windows on both sides. Instead, I am using two of these 2 LED strips from Game of Bricks, which were originally intended to illuminate the steam at the top of the chimneys. I first passed the connecting wire through the black perforated stone and then through the white base plates downwards. The connecting wires are 30 cm connecting wires, also from Game of Bricks. The 2 LED strips are guided around the corner at a gap created at the back. First of all, there is no way to run a wire upwards into this structure, so I'm now making the following changes. First, I remove this beige 4 blade, which I don't need anymore. I replace this black 16 blade with the following 3 blades. I now remove this white 9 blade from this structure and put it aside for the time being. Inside the superstructure, the BitLight is now fixed with such a black 1 whole brick. As a replacement for the original base plate, I now use 4 of these white 2 blades. Finally, these 2 round white 1 blades are placed on the black perforated stone. Then the connection wire of the BitLight is passed through this hole of the grey blade and then through the holes of the black whole brick and the white bottom blade downwards. The black 16 blade is now used to cover the front part of this construction section. For better stability, 4 of these grey round 1 stones are added first. At a place where the 2 round white 1 blades were before, I now add 2 1 blades of any color. I now only need one of these white 6 stones, and the other is put into the supply. Now the remaining original stones can be dismantled. This structure will now be attached to the rest of the construction phase via this round 1 blade that protrudes from it. The structure is no longer as tight as before, but that doesn't matter. I have now moved the original white 9 blade at the bottom to the top of the body to shield the light from the top and give the whole thing a little more stability. At this point, first of all, a change. So far I had led the connecting wire for the lighting of the substructure of chimney 4 here at this opening into the interior of the ship. However, with the installation of the current construction section, this wire would be pinched. Therefore, I have now led this connection wire through this pinhole of the substructure into the interior of the ship instead. The connection wire for the control unit for the steam module of chimney 4 already runs through this pinhole. According to the Brixy instructions, this 6 LED strip would now be glued to the underside at this point. But I don't want that. Instead, I want to illuminate these 3 windows, these portholes, from the inside. To do this, I laid this LED strip inside, and so that it has space there, I had to shorten this floor plate by 1 point. The LED strip is connected to the last free slot of these 8 expansion board. To position the LED strip inside, I now make the following changes. These 2 beige plates, each with 2 studs, are first removed and then repositioned elsewhere, as well as a third of these plates, which will also be moved. To fix the LED strip on this side a bit, I add such a black round 1 stone here. After I have summarized the wires of this construction phase, they are now connected to the 6 expansion board. Finally, this expansion board and the wires are stowed in this shaft, and the construction section can be permanently mounted. The mast, the 2 lifeboats, the 4 davits and the 3 ropes from Bax 45 I put aside for the time being. This will then be mounted in the next video. These remaining elements will be installed now afterwards.
Those were the Bax 45 and we had 206 stones.
There are no stones left. And in total we are at 8,557.
And how was the celebration? Apart from the fact that it was probably very late.
Rather early.
It was really great. We took a few pictures. Here.
It looks like you all had a lot of fun. And Yellowstone seems to get along well with Melissa.
Yes, she's very nice.
I think someone is fallen in love.
How? What? No, nonsense.
Well, be careful that Joe doesn't notice.
How? What? Oh, that's nothing serious. That is nothing.
I hope Joe sees it that way too.
What about Melissa? Who wants what from her?
Ha ha ha, very funny. Do you have to scare me so much? Wait a minute, is that Susan back there?
Susan? Where? Susan?
That was good. If you dish it out, you have to be able to take it.
Yes, okay. That was really good.
So let's move on. Now we come to the main wiring and the assembly of the remote control unit. I don't necessarily need you there. You can still recover a bit until Bax 46. I think you need that. You don't look that fit yet.
Yes, that is probably true.
We rest a little longer.
See you later.
See you later. But to be on time. Maybe a coffee will help. And we will go to the bottom, to the keel of the ship. With the Lightkit from Game of Bricks, the connection of the three parts of the Titanic is done by passing the wires from one section inside to the other section and connecting them to an expansion board. The remote control module is housed in the bow inside, and the wire for the main power connection between the stones is also routed to the outside. With the Lightkit from Brixshine, the connection of the three parts is done in the same way as with the Lightkit from Game of Bricks. This makes it much more difficult to separate the three parts of the Titanic with both Lightkits. Here the wire for the main power connection in the rear is routed outwards between the stones. The Lightkit from Brixshine has two power connections, one for the lighting and one for the steam modules. I don't want to do all this way, and so I decided to go for a different solution. Above all, I don't want to have wires between the individual ship parts. Instead, I use the wireless power connector from Game of Bricks. Such a wireless connection of Game of Bricks consists of the following parts. On the one hand from a 2-plate, on the underside of which there are 2 spring-loaded contacts. On the other hand of a thin foil with 2 copper contact surfaces, which in turn is glued to a 2-tile with a double-sided adhesive tape. Game of Bricks offers this wireless connection in the colors light gray and black as far as the 2 Lego bricks used are concerned. These are sold in a pack of 3 for around 14 euros. You can see the use of this wireless connection in a promotional video from Game of Bricks. You can find the link to it in the video description for this video. How I use the wireless connection to establish the connection between the 3 parts of my Titanic, I will show you in the next following scenes. Originally I had planned to run the wire from the bow and stern to the middle section and to merge it there on the remote control module. Here you can see the example of the bow. For this I had replaced one of the large floor blades at the bottom and replaced it with among other things, such a grey perforated blade. Instead I replaced this grey perforated blade with 2 of these contact stones of a wireless connection of Game of Bricks. One is then used to establish the power connection for the lighting and the other to connect the steam modules. To do this I first open the keel floor. This is the connection wire that leads to the control unit of the steam module for chimney 1. At that time I had already connected a 2 expansion board to this, to which one of these contact stones is now connected. On the black main connection wire for the lighting, which was previously led outwards through the grey perforated blade, I have now also added a 2 expansion board to which the second contact stone is now connected. The 2 expansion board is again one of those I bought additionally from the manufacturer Lightkit bricks. In order to be able to install the 2 contact stones properly, I first have to close this gap here. I do this with such a black 2-plate. After the wires have been stowed, the keel floor can be closed again. In order to be able to distinguish the 2 contact stones from each other, I have now added a white 1 plate and a black 1 plate each. White stands for the lighting and black for the steam, which is for the power connection of the steam modules. Afterwards I replaced these 2 plates with the following 2 plates. The reason for this is to give better stability to the actual connection, which you can see later. Here in the rear too, I am now replacing the original idea, namely to lead the wire over the middle part, with the new solution with the help of the wireless connection of Game of Bricks. In order to reach the connecting wire to the control unit for the steam module for chimney 4, I first had to open the hull on the side. However, due to the modular design of the Titanic, this is not a major problem. Here is the desired wire, to which I already connected a 2 expansion board in the last video. To make it easier to install the contact stones, I also open the other side of the fuselage. After attaching the contact stones, I guide the connecting wires through the holes of this already existing perforated beam. Here I pass the connection wire of the contact stone for the connection to the steam module through the pinholes of 2 such grey 2 blades. To store the wires I constructed a small cable box. This consists of a dark red 8 plate, 3 dark red 6 plate and a dark red 2 plate, as well as a white perforated 2 stone. The box is now mounted at this point. Now I pass the black connecting wire for the lighting through this white 2-hole brick to the front, and then the connecting wire of the contact stone for the connection to the steam module to the rear through this white 2-hole brick. Now the black connecting wire is connected to the connecting wire of the other contact stone via a 2 expansion board, again from Lightkit bricks. In the meantime I have combined the wires a bit and stowed them in this small cable box. After attaching these 2 dark grey 2 blades with pinholes to the rear keel blade, the connecting wire is led through it to the other side. Now the bottom of the keel is being closed again. To mark the two contact stones, I can only use a white one blade this time to mark this one which carries the current for the lighting. On the other side I can't attach a stone. Before the connecting wire of the contact stone is connected to the connecting wire of the control unit of the steam module via the 2 expansion board, I add such a grey 2 blade with a pinhole to pass the wire through there. Finally, the 2 sides of the fuselage are closed again. And here too I replace these 2 blades for reasons of stability with the following 2 blades. Originally all wires coming from the bow, stern and middle section were to converge at this point in the middle section and be connected to the remote control module. But here too this changes with the new concept, and now you can see the changes that will be made to the middle part. On one side of the middle part I have already done the installation of the contact stones and also marked them accordingly with a white and black blade. On the other side I first replaced one of these floor blades with these blades. In order to mount the contact stones I first have to open the keel floor. Before I continue with the installation of the contact stones, however, I first to do something else. Here you can see the connecting wires of the porthole lighting which I moved inside in an earlier video. Today the steam engines that are installed here are installed with the BAX 46. To prevent the connection wires from being damaged by the installation of the steam engines, I will first fix them to the side walls. For this I use one of these grey 6 blade and 2 each of these black 2 blades. In order to be able to place them, I first have to remove more stones. This fixes the connecting wire on one side and the same is done on the other side. After the dismantling of the stones, the installation of the contact stones continues. Here too I guide the connecting wires of the contact stones through the already existing perforated beam. At this point there is no possibility to mark the contact stones with a white and black one blade, but this is not necessary as this can be seen on the opposite side on the other 2 contact stones. I have already connected the connecting wire of the contact stone on the right side to this 4 expansion board, which makes the connection to the steam module in the bow. This black wire leads upwards to another 4 expansion board to which I connected the connecting wires of the control units of the steam modules for chimney 2 and 3 in the last 2 videos. This wire is now also connected to this 4 expansion board. This combines chimneys 1, 2 and 3. On the other side, the connecting wires of the contact stones were also routed through the already existing black perforated beam. On this side I now add such a dark grey 2 blade with a pinhole to the keel blade, for which the 2 connecting wires of the 2 contact stones on the left side are first passed. Now the connecting wire of the contact stone from the left side, which makes the connection to the steam module in the stern, is also connected to this 4 expansion board. This means that the steam module of all 4 chimneys are combined on this 4 expansion board. Another 30 cm connection wire from Game of Bricks is already attached to it, which is now connected to the remote control module. All the necessary connecting wires are led outwards through the existing grey perforated blade and the keel is then closed again. In the meantime I connected all the necessary wires to the remote control module. The remote control module has 5 ports, 5 channels. On port 1, channel 1, I connected the lighting of the bow. The connecting wire comes from here on the right, from the contact stone, and is passed through this hole in the perforated blade. Connected to channel 2, this black wire which is passed through the middle hole, this is the lighting of the middle section. Connected to the third channel is this wire which is passed through the third hole of the blade, coming from the contact stone from the left, the lighting of the stern. And finally on channel 4, this second black connection wire which is also led through the third hole of the blade. These are the steam modules of all 3 parts of the ship. These buttons on the remote control can be used to adjust the brightness and these to activate an effect such as flickering or flashing. Another of these wireless connections is used for the main power supply. The contact stone is mounted at this point. Its connection wire is led through the middle hole of the perforated plate to the remote control module and connected to the power connector there. Finally, the remote control module is stowed in this box consisting of the bricks shown here. Afterwards, I fixed the wires inside the box with this dark red 8 plate and these two dark red 2 plates. As in the bow and stern, I am still replacing these 2 plates with these 2. To connect the bow to the middle part via the contact stones, I now construct the following component. This consists of the bricks shown here, 4 of these wireless connections and 2 expansion boards from Lightkit. I don't need the grey 2 tiles included with the wireless connections, I put them in the supply. Instead I use 2 of these dark red 4 tiles here. 2 of these contact plates are connected to a 2 expansion board. After the wires and the expansion boards have been stowed in the box and are fixed with the 8 plate, the contact plates are attached to the tiles with the double-sided adhesive pads. This component is then attached to the contact stones between the bow and the middle section at the bottom of the keel to establish the power connection between the 2 parts of the ship. A component is also designed for the connection between the rear and middle section. This also consists 4 of these wireless connections to 2 expansion boards from Brixy and the bricks shown here. Here I use not only blades with studs for covering, but also tiles so that this component can be removed from the keel more easily. For the main power connection I also designed a corresponding component which consists of the elements shown here. You can see the required stones, a contact tile from a wireless connection and the 2 expansion board. Furthermore, the power connection with the USB plug from the Lightkit brick shine. This and the expansion board come from the previous power supply. A piece of black braided cable conduit with a width of 6 mm, as well as a piece of black shrink tubing with an inner diameter of 6.4 mm. The shrink tubing is slightly longer than the braided tubing. First I run the connection wire of the USB plug through the braided hose. I twisted the wire a bit beforehand to shorten the length. The shrink tube is passed over it, which is pushed onto the end piece of the USB plug. The end of the connecting wire with the connector is passed through this grey pin and the shrink tubing is pushed onto the thicker end of the pin. The connector fits through the inside of the pin, but only in a certain position, so you may need some patience. Now the pin is connected to the perforated 2 stones. In the next step, the hose is treated with a hairdryer to shrink it. I used a hairdryer with 1200 watts of power here. Instead of a hairdryer, you can also use a heat gun. However, you should make sure that the whole thing does not get too hot, especially at the ends where the Lego bricks and the USB plug are located, otherwise parts could melt. The end of the hose, which rests on the end piece of the plug, I finally fixed with super glue. You can also use a shrink tube with integrated adhesive. I tried it afterwards, but I didn't like it so much, because the hose is then stiff and no longer flexible. Now the 2 expansion board is attached to the connector. The contact plate is then connected to the 2 expansion board, and after the wires and the expansion board have been stowed in the box, it is closed with a black 16 plate. Finally, the contact plate is attached to this of the two black two tiles with the adhesive pad. With my just constructed power connection, I have now added such a black two blade on the top. This then reaches into this gap right here when the component is attached, giving it a little more stability. Now the main power connection is attached to the underside of the keel. The contact plate establishes a connection with the previously installed contact stone. Now the whole thing is connected with a suitable USB cable, which in turn hangs on a power adapter. I also tested the whole thing with a power bank, which also works wonderfully. But both Brixshine and Game of Bricks recommend using a power adapter due to the amount of LEDs used. As soon as power is present, this can be recognized on the remote control module by a glowing red LED. An important note at this point. This is direct current, so you have to make sure that the positive pole of the contact plate comes to rest on the positive contact of the stone. Otherwise the whole thing won't work. This means that if you want to lead the USB cable, the power connector out on the other side, you have to turn the contact stone accordingly. In order to establish the connection between the bow and the middle section, the previously designed component is now attached to the contact stones on the underside. By the way, it doesn't matter here that a plus is on plus and minus on minus, because here the current is simply carried on via the wires. And the power connection is also established between the rear and middle section by attaching the previously designed component to the underside.
Wow, you are actually on time.
That just looked really interesting.
Yes, a very unconventional variant.
Yes, you could say so. Let's see how it proves itself in practice. There are certainly others, maybe even better ways. Okay, let's move on with the bags 46 to separate bags one last time.
First I built the mast tip for the rear mast. These, the ropes and the 2 feet I put aside for the time being. These will be finally installed in the next video. In addition, these bricks from the BEX 46 are still missing, but they will only be used in the grand finale. But make a note, Brixy, there are 16 stones. And now, finally, the assembly of the 2 machines and the connector. The 2 machines will be installed in the rear. The red gross rod is connected to the existing rod of the screws. You can see this nicely when you turn this cogwheel here. Only half of the machines are located in the rear, the other half then disappears in the middle section. And this means that the rear and middle section can now be connected to this component. And at this point, another historical fact in the building instructions. The Titanic was launched on the 31st of May 1911, 110 years ago in 2021.
Those were the BEX 46. No stones are left. And here is our table.
For BEX 45 there were 206 stones, and now for BEX 46 251 stones.
This brings us to a total of 8,808. And one last time, shortly before the end,
The list of the installed lighting elements.
On the starboard side, nice to see the lighting of the 2 lattice windows and the lighting of the small window in the superstructure above. Below this structure is the large staircase of the 2nd class. Here the lighting of these 3 windows, these 3 portholes by laying the LED strip inwards. And also on the port side the lighting of the 2 lattice windows and the small window in the superstructure above.
But you were quite busy today.
yes, as a small reparation because we were too late.
Thanks, that's great of you. But somehow I have the feeling that this is not the only reason. Could this have something to do with May the 14th? On May the 14th it's Yellowstone's birthday. And I guess that's what you want to celebrate. And when I'm thinking of Brixy's birthday party and yesterday's party, it's supposed to be another, let's say, not so discreet celebration.
You can leave one on that.
You can tell you are brothers. Well, I think we will manage the celebration. As long as you are fit again for the next video. Day 25, the last official construction day before the grand finale.
That won't be a problem.
I'm curious about that. So, that's it for today. No catastrophe, no shallow jokes, no water or confetti, no punches or foot gone astray. Then there is only one thing left. Bye.
All the best. Until next
time. What do you have there, Brixy? Looks like a magic wand. Where did you get the toy? Did you have a magic show at a party yesterday? Why does it light up like that? What are you doing? Why are you pointing the stick at me? That's just a toy, isn't it? Brixy? Brixy!
Uh-oh.
Oh, holy shit!